write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just a scout? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
That was great sounds. Watts Without Sound on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Preston, with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made, Mr. Easy Blues. Easy Blues, you're always better with introductions more than me. Who do we have with us on the program today? Go right ahead, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say this, and I say it all the time. Education is probably the biggest thing we need to invest in and really nurture, because as the great Whitney Houston once said, I believe the children are the future, teach them well and let them lead the way. So that is so super important. And for that and that alone, I want you to put your hands together. Not if you're driving. If you're driving, please keep your hands at 10 and 2, because we don't need any accidents. But mentally, put your hands together for the fantastic, the amazing, the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Kimberly Gill is in the building from the Brave Nature School. Welcome, Benvenue, and how are you?
Good. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me here with you.
Absolutely. Kim, tell us about your story. Why did you want to start your own program in your own school, and what makes you, what was the best word to say it? What excites you about teaching children?
Okay. Can you repeat the first part of the question? I just want to make sure I understood.
Okay.
The first part.
First part. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. What made you want to do this? What made you want to start the school, and what excites you about teaching children? Yeah, there we go.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry.
So, yeah, what made me want to do this? I grew up in public schools and hated it.
Okay.
But I loved learning, and I loved playing in my backyard, and I loved climbing trees and playing in the creek and rescuing animals. I also loved being a part of my community, and I felt like I was learning, like when I would go to a community center, when I would go to a grocery store, when I would say hello to the postman, all the conversations I would have. I grew up in a pretty diverse community in Windsor, Connecticut, and my public education experience just didn't, in my mind, it didn't feel like what school should feel like. And I said to myself, like, since I was 4 or 5, that I was going to start a different kind of school one day. So I think that that's kind of stuck with me. What excites me is that the possibilities are so limitless. Children are beautiful. Children are just perfect. Like, they're just born perfect. I don't know if either of you are parents, but yeah. Am I getting a head nod?
Okay. Yes, I am a parent.
So like the feeling when your child is born that you had, that like they're just perfect. Like, they have everything that they need with them. They are these spiritual little earthlings that can do no wrong and are just so pure and carry so much wisdom with them. So I just get really excited every day being with children and getting to be a part of that with them, like listening to them and watching them and playing with them. And yeah, so that's kind of what excites me.
Easy, I think you can relate.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely love it. I've spent time being being somewhat of a teacher, with doing voice lessons and stuff like that, dealing with children and all that, and plus having children myself. I think it's one of the most incredible things is to sit there and watch it. And I always say I'm here for the aha moments. When they get it, you watch all the pieces just link up perfectly, and they get that aha moment and they get to move forward. I think that's one of the most incredible moments you can be. And if you can witness them, and you can witness more than one, that is incredible and amazing. So that's pretty cool that you had this dream to make this school something a little bit different? And what makes it different from the public school experience?
Yeah, well, we're a micro school, so we don't use the federal curriculum. We don't follow the same policies. We don't have the same requirements. I mean, we are a community-driven micro school. We create our own policies. We create our own curriculum. The families get to participate in every aspect that they want to be able to participate. We make agreements together, and that includes the children. We talk about what we need to be a community. We talk about what we need to feel safe together, what it means to be inclusive and to feel like we all belong together. And I guess something that really distinguishes us is our values. We believe that children are rights holders and are worthy of receiving and having their rights respected. So we integrate consent into everything that we do. Children practice forming and establishing agreements, setting their own boundaries, listening to, respecting one another's boundaries. And that involves parents as well. We're anti-racist, we're anti-bias. We integrate diverse and multicultural knowledge systems. We really ground ourselves in the teachings and the work of Indigenous educators and scholars that surround us in our community and that have come before us in this work, and in particularly here on Quinnipiac territory, which is also New Haven. We are building relationships with the folks at the Pequot Museum, the Mohegan Nation.
Nice.
And so I think that learning together in partnership with the land and in partnership with our community and empowering children and parents as equal members of the community, and giving them the responsibility to take leadership in their own learning experiences.
Outdoor learning. Tell me more about that. What classes do you provide just for these kids? Because what I'm seeing on the website and what I'm seeing just like different videos that you have provided just, for the masses, it's more of a hands-on experience when it comes to your teaching. Just give us, our audience, just a little bit more about that.
Yeah. So I just got back from class a couple hours ago, so I can give you some good examples.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
We meet in Edgerton Park, which is a city park. It's also a nonprofit conservancy. And so we basically have 26 acres to just like romp and play and explore and roll around and tumble and like play in the ice and the snow. We gather together in the morning. Right now, we have a caregiver in me program, so it's ages 0 to 4. We're launching our pre-K program, which will be a full-time Monday through Friday program in the autumn 2025.
Good for you.
Right now, so that's like a really big deal. But for right now, we gather and we play and we meet, we form a morning circle, we sing songs together. The children get to throw out whatever songs they want to sing. We sang Wheels on the Bus, ABCs, Twinkle Star. We also have some, our staples like Good Morning Dear Earth, where we greet all the creatures in the garden. We greet one another, we greet ourselves. So there's a little bit of ritual there for us. We have tea together, we have snack together. We'll do a story. As I mentioned, we try to integrate different cultural perspectives on any given theme. So this week we're talking about mutualism. And mutualism is this idea that like nature takes care of itself, like plants, animals, fungi, trees. They work in partnership for mutual benefit. And what can we as humans learn from those relationships? So we did a puppet show today. We had these little animal creatures, which I don't have on me right now, but
Okay.
we like to do little puppet shows, and we were acting out different scenarios that we as play workers, which is what we call ourselves. We're not teachers, we're play workers because play is the work of the child and we're just here to support them. Um, we we were kind of acting out different scenarios that we've seen the children kind of stumble into some problems together as they naturally do. And then we'll ask the children, can you help out the animals? Can you help them out? Like what advice, what guidance can we give them? And how can they work together? And they love that. They love being able to have the opportunity to like be the problem solvers and like help the beaver understand that he shouldn't have like crashed so hard into the fox and he really needs to check in on his friend and see how he can help. So yeah, really sweet. But we also just play. We just run around and we let the children lead. We follow them. Sometimes we take a step back and just let them go.
Mm-hmm.
They like to play in the bird bath. There's a lot of ice in the garden right now. The sunlight was melting a lot of the ice, so they're starting to like pour and dump and watch the ice crystals crack. So it's all just very much like a ethereal sort of experience sometimes. Um, yeah, we'll do some games or activities.
Okay.
Organically if it arises. We don't like to have like a set agenda outside of like the different aspects of our ritual together, which kind of brings us together,
Right.
lets them go play, and then we come back and then we let them go again.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll close with another morning circle and a song that they like to sing called Love is a Circle. And we say goodbye to one another.
That's awesome.
Is goodbye the hardest part sometimes?
Definitely. Yeah. I think we stayed for like 30 minutes and just splashed in puddles.
Oh, nice. It's very important.
Oh man, easy. Your finger was up. Every time your finger is up, you always have something to
Well,
say.
well, it was funny because I was sitting here, like this, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna say my fingers up. Well, I'm really just paying attention.
Okay.
But
Sorry.
but no, it's so interesting to see, and I love that you're engaging at the super younger age. The pre getting into the standards of said schooling and different aspects there. How difficult was it to start up a program like this, and how does someone who as inspired as you are go forth and maybe start their own side of this? Maybe we'll have a Hamden version, or we can have I don't
Yeah.
know, this show gets seen all over the place, and they hear us on the Spotify, so maybe someone from wherever. I was gonna think of something funny to say, but I couldn't think of it. I just lost. I'm sorry. I apologize.
It's all right.
No, I mean, yeah, so nature and forest schools, like that's kind of the tradition that we're following in forest school is very much rooted in indigenous practices, has kind of a long-standing tradition across North America, also in Europe, and when we think about like the global South as well, this is just a community-based outdoor
Right.
school. Um, so I think that this is something that anyone can do and should be able to do because I think when we think about generations before us and cultures around us, communities can educate their own children. Um, Absolutely. We have the skill sets to do that. And so, I mean, my trajectory is just one path, and it's probably not the most efficient route to take because I, did my undergrad in sociology and business and
Mhm.
economics and um, went to art school in New York City because I knew that I had this like design interest, like I wanted to create something, but I couldn't figure out like what it was going to be yet. I knew it was going to be with children. I knew it was going to involve the outdoors. I knew that the artist inside of me like was just dying to create something. Um, I ended up creating another micro school in my hometown in Hartford
Mhm.
after college and ran that for about 7 years and realized like first I need to go to France and learn another language. And then I need to go to grad school. So I went to study under a predominantly First Nations and Indigenous faculty at the University of Saskatchewan and got my master's of critical environmental education using decolonizing frameworks. And then I got a job at the UN and was working alongside Indigenous peoples and local communities to promote their knowledge, their rights, and their priorities in international climate policy. And I think I was just gathering a lot of experiences that I felt like I needed to be able to form the idea of the project. And that turned out to be the school that I knew I wanted when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Yeah. And I think it wasn't really until like the birth of my daughter when I was like, okay, now's the time. Like it's now or never. Like, because
Right.
there's no
Yeah.
school that I'm going to put my kid in. Like looking around, I mean, I want her outside. I want her rights respected. I want her to be able to say no.
Mhm.
Um, I want her to be able to lead her own with her own curiosities and to have peers and families and educators who support her in that journey. So yeah, so this is what it is.
With just like everything being so divided right now, do you feel your institution, your educational institution, is at the right place at the right time? Because you're saying everything is coming into fruition just with the pre-K in 2020, well, 2025 is now in the fall.
Yeah.
Just with everything with decisions made politically and stuff right now, do you feel, because like even if you told me like you even get like the particular books that are right for the kids just for them to learn, do you feel you're in the right place teaching what you're teaching right now?
I mean, it really does feel that way. I
Mm,
think with everything that's going on in our
yeah.
political context, like, and you look around and it's so hard. I mean, even prior to this political environment, we knew
Hmm.
that it's still the parents don't get a say in their children's education the way that
Right.
it's right now. Um, Dealing with bullying, racism, lack of respect for children's autonomy is
Yeah.
something that has been a very much a part of the school system, be it public or private, for a very long time. But it hasn't always been that way. I mean, when we look at like the start of like capitalism, we're only working with like a few hundred years now, right?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
children
Yeah.
have been educated in community by their elders for generations around the world. So I think that our current context really does lend itself to finding new solutions that are future oriented for children to be able to grow up together outside with nature and one
Hmm.
another, surrounded by their elders, as opposed to, um, I don't know. I guess I just feel I have a lot of respect for teachers, especially in like giant school systems. And this is not against the teachers because it's not really about them. It's more so
Hmm.
about the system,
Right.
Sure.
which holds them back from really doing their best work.
Thanks.
And fully
Definitely.
agree there. The system itself is broken, and it's very difficult to do anything positive in a broken system. And for those that are in there and putting the work in, we are not pouring salt on your hustle. We appreciate you, and you're doing the best you can with the system in which you've been given. We're just
Yeah,
saying that system itself is broken.
absolutely. I mean, it's broken, but in fact, it was designed to work that way.
Right.
So it just doesn't work. It wasn't intended to work for the children, but a school should work for the children.
Right.
And
Mm.
so that's what we're trying to do.
I think you're achieving it on WNHHLP 103.5 FM. Myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Raised, Elm City made EZ BlueZ. Kim, what can we expect out of pre-K this fall that you can give out to our listeners, that you will make it unique for the students, unlike public schools?
Yeah, I love that.
Mhm.
Um, so our pre-K program is for ages 2.8 to 6-year-olds.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's going to have it's a full-time program, but we are going to have some part-time offerings. I know it's a big interest from the community. In terms of what to expect, I think the children are going to be learning a lot about their body boundaries. We're going to be talking a lot about building agreement and working together. We're going to have a lot of responsibilities to take care of the garden and the park and the different life forms that live in the park. We're going to be getting into early literacy, early numeracy. We're going to be getting into histories and sciences from multicultural perspectives,
Mhm.
getting into music and dance and making our own instruments and growing our own food. We'll be preparing lunch together every day and serving one another and helping one another tidy up.
Oh, that's cool.
We'll be resting together. So we have 1 hour after lunch where we will just be having quiet time. And so for the littler ones who want a nap, we'll have some hammocks set up for them in the forest. And the older ones will just be nearby having some quiet time to themselves because I think it's really important for children from a young age to really cultivate that relationship to themselves that they can only really do when they're in silence with themselves.
Right.
So starting that mindfulness practice with them as well.
Now,
But yeah, aside from that, it's going to be messy. There's going to be mud and dirt and snow and ice, and kids are going to be bringing like 2 changes of clothes because
Nice. This is gonna
yeah,
be fun.
you already
yeah,
answered my other question. Oh man, in terms of planning, because I saw a lot of stuff planning like on your website. What stuff do you plan? Well, plant. I can't say
plant.
plant with these kids.
Plant. Yeah. So Edgerton Park has a beautiful community garden.
Hmm.
Um, there is an abundance of what herbs, vegetables, there's fruits. I mean, they're growing kumquats and Italian lemons
Oh
and
wow.
persimmons, and their greenhouses are just full of different things right now. But there's sorrel, there's tomatoes. Um, we're just going to be supporting the gardeners in their gardens. We've befriended a few over the years that we've been meeting in the community garden. So we've been invited to help participate in all of the aspects of that. But we'll see what the kids choose.
Nice.
What have been your favorite reaction stories from your students?
Favorite reaction stories. I don't know. I think it's hard to just think of a story on the spot,
Okay.
but I it's something will always come to me and it'll probably be like, 10 minutes later. But some of the things that I just really cherish watching is how they naturally just build relationships together
Mm,
and um, kind of troubleshoot their own tricky situations, how they create these like play stories.
Mhm.
Week after week, the different groups of children will kind of go back to a story that they had created and like
mm,
elaborate on it. So our Sunday group has this kind of plot of these baby dinos that keep getting trapped behind a fence. And sometimes there's baby dinos in there's like a big garden shed and there's a real rabbit that lives in the garden. So sometimes we're on the hunt for the rabbit and sometimes a baby dino appears. Um, so just really, I mean, one time a baby dino, which is a child,
yeah. Yeah.
got trapped behind this garden fence. And one of the, I think he must be 3 now, he was like, well, we have to call the fire truck. So, they called the fire truck to come help him out. And I think it's just really beautiful watching them problem solve and play in their own way.
That's awesome.
So when the finger's up easy, you just reacted.
Yeah, no,
I just need
I
to
was just enjoying.
gotcha.
I was really just enjoying that story itself because
Definitely.
it's amazing to see, and I've gotten to see it with having my younger two with me their
Hmm.
entire existence. I've got to really see and watch them grow into the particular type of human beings that they're growing into and evolving through. So
Yeah.
it's always nice to see that, and it's really nice to know that there is a spot that they could go and continue to grow through that. I mean, that was for a little while, not in this level, but we'll say adjacent to that was leap for them when they were in, started going to regular school and public school and stuff like that. Someplace where there was this extra spot where they could just be themselves and they can go forward, and I think it's a beautiful thing. And yeah, it's very interesting that especially in times like these, not only is something like your thing available, but it's out there for people that really truly need it. And I think as things get as more and more complex as they're going to become, I think it's the communities that you help build will help actually heal when we need to. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. And I think part of our kind of commitment to this work is being able to offer weekend options, because we know that some families just have their life set up and they're already in another school, and but they still would love to be able to be a part of a community that's so intentional like ours. And so we do offer weekend programs. Um, we have a lot of families who come with like two parents and the kids, sometimes a grandparent or an auntie. And it's just like it feels so good to be able to get to know the children's families, get to know other families in your community, and just be able to chat and connect while the children are out and about.
About and about. You got an event this coming Saturday, right?
Saturday, Friday.
Friday? Okay, Friday.
Friday
Friday
is
got it going.
yeah, it's the National Blackout, Economic Blackout,
Yep.
and we are hosting a play-in at
Nice.
Atwood Park from 2 to 4 p.m. So everyone is welcome, grown-ups, children alike. We are inviting folks to bring gently used toys or books if they want to exchange with one another. But we'll just be playing in the playground. We tried to pick like a kind of a public corner playground where folks could see that here we are. We're a nature school. We're out playing. There's no need to exchange money or spend
Mhm.
today. Standing in solidarity with folks across the country on that day.
How can one volunteer?
In general,
Yeah, in
Yes.
general. How can one volunteer in general? Just like be
yeah.
be a part of the team, help you out and support.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if folks just, if they just reach out via email, but we could kind of figure that out together because everyone
Mm,
has different skill sets, right? Like some folks have reached out, they want to help out with fundraising. Somebody is volunteering their time to write grants right now for us, which is like such a big deal. Um,
yeah.
it's something that I don't like to do. It's time consuming and it takes a certain level of expertise. But we also do little events. We do pop-ups at farmers markets and at the library
Okay.
occasionally. So there's a million ways really to get involved. So if anyone was interested, they could just shoot me an email.
Mm. Now, is the Brave Nature School the final goal of yours? Do you think of expanding this mission just to different ages or expanding this mission, like Easy said earlier in the broadcast, to not just New Haven, Hamden, and like across
Mhm.
the board? Like, what are some goals that you have provided for yourself that you want to mention? It's okay to keep some goals to yourself.
Yeah, well, first of all, this particular Brave Nature School is definitely going to age up. We have a vision to grow as the children age up. We will be
Mhm.
adding on new programs um, that will always be mixed ages. So we might offer after the pre-K, the K program, then there will be an elementary program, sort of
Yeah.
like a middle school, a high school cohort, and it will always be small so that the kids can kind of grow together and they know their community. Um, but aside from that, we also have vision. We a lot of folks would like to see us in Westville. So there's West Rock Park, there's Edgewood Park.
Right.
We've been thinking about potentially launching additional cohorts here in these parks, but also in other neighboring towns and cities, because really our model is just reliant upon public parks because we should be able to use those publics. We have the right to be there. We're using them as kind of like these guerrilla learning spaces, right? It's something that we can absolutely do elsewhere, and we have had a lot of interest up in the northeast corner of Connecticut and the southeast corner. So we'll see.
That's interesting. I think the apple orchards are out there.
Oh yeah.
I could definitely see you doing something
Farmland.
with those kids. Yeah, it was but the farmland and the apple orchards. There's a lot of opportunity, especially with Connecticut having that open field too. Definitely, man. The kids gonna have a great time. They definitely are. But as far as I know, I said best reaction stories from kids, but you gave me a great answer for that. What have some of the parents been saying? What's some of the positive impact that the parents, that you give to that children, that you give that great world, that great experience to their children? What have they been talking about that and mentioning?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest takeaways is just like the idea that we can do this.
Yeah,
Like we often are told as parents, like from the moment that you first like give birth, that like there's so many things that you need to do, like to do it properly, right? Like you have to do X, Y, Z. And part of that process is like you have to enroll your kid in school when they come of age. They have to get involved in after school extracurricular activities. They need,
right.
um, but like, no, like says who, right? Like
Right.
according to who? There's so many ways to raise a child. And I personally prefer to, if I'm going to take leadership from someone, take leadership from communities who've been living in harmony with one another, who've been living in harmony with the earth for generations. Um, that's what feels right to me. But I think listening to parents and feeling like, or just hearing them feel so validated that their intentions for their child are right. They don't
Right.
have to follow, the mainstream flow that society dictates for us, for their children. Just listening to them talk about how confident they are playing outside, because I think a lot of parents wonder, like, I don't even know how to play with my kids outside. Like, what do we do? Like,
Wow.
Right.
what? I don't
Wow.
even know what to do with my kids outside. It's a really common phenomenon as humans have grown further and further away from like our natural environment. It's like they just like, their kids, we see kids come home from school and they put on TV or they play a video game.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
the families don't even know how to support their children. So I think being outside together and just playing in the mud, baking like mud cakes together and pulling out carrots and smashing them with rocks, like just, like silly child-led plays is really what I'm so excited for these families to be able to experience, because it's something that every child and every family should have as a part of like their core experiences together.
Right.
Yeah. I personally don't have kids, but I know Easy has kids. And one of the most important things that Easy does, which I really admire, he makes them get off of the TV. He makes them get off of the video games and go out
Yeah.
and read or go outside and explore, especially when it's a great day outside. I mean, it's not like how it was like 10, maybe like 15 years ago, where you just go outside and have a good time and have those bonding experiences with other kids. And I'm happy that you're bringing that back. Somewhere, somehow, I'm happy that you're bringing that back where kids can actually interact with each other. And it's okay to be introverted. It's okay, like, to have that time to yourself. But as far as that approach of just
Mhm.
like meeting and just introducing yourself to somebody, that's a little bit missing because we're not having programs like not yours. We're not having those guidelines that my friend Easy does for his kids, like making them go outside and making them, you know,
Right.
read and having those experiences. So
Yeah.
definitely kudos to you for that. Definitely
Yeah.
kudos.
And we also we understand that it's also extremely difficult when you're forced into having to
Yeah,
be a two family, both partners working type of environment where you guys are being ships in the night passing, but making sure that one person's doing the meal that's necessary to get that person to do the meal,
of
and that's
course.
Right.
just to be able to afford to live.
Right.
Understand if we were making what was necessary, if we were able to, if we were being paid a living wage, we'd be able to go back there. But now, it's a matter of how quick and how efficient can we get it so that we can get more of it, so we can continue to move forward, so we can continue to be that cog in the wheel when, like the brave nature school says, sometimes you just got to get some dirt under your fingernails,
Yeah.
and retouch yourself with earth.
Mm.
Yeah, and that experience that you have in your family is so real. I mean, that's my experience too. Like, and I would say it's the majority of the families that are a part of our community is like it's two working parents. Like we're just making ends meet and we're tired. And like how beautiful is it to just be able to take some time aside and for community and for our kids to reconnect like with my friends and for my child to connect with her friends. And I just want to say, like, kind of on that note, that something that also distinguishes what we're trying to do here is
Mm.
economic justice and education equity are absolutely like intertwined in the whole process. If you
Yeah,
look at forest and nature schools across North America, they're expensive. They're not accessible. I mean, people are paying like 20, $30,000 a year to send their kid to forest school. And it's not fair because every child has a right to this kind of education if they choose it for themselves. Every family should have this option. So what we did is we created an equity tuition model so that families basically at any income level making minimum wage all the way up to, beyond six figures. We have six different income brackets.
that's cool.
And the way that we have it set is that we allow a certain amount of children per income bracket, and it all balances itself out in the math.
Right.
Mm.
That's awesome. No, that's so super important because, usually you would see something like this for those that can afford it, and we were just put in a situation, and I live a very exposed life, so it is what it is, what it is. It's put in a situation with one of my children that, because he was in the lower income aspect of it, you know, um, he had a different set of rules than those that were affording, the bigger aspect of it.
Mhm.
And that's something that will forever follow you. I've been in that situation on the other side of it, being the child,
Mhm.
coming from the single parent household, which is even, more stressful. And, because now you get working two jobs and trying to get all that stuff squared away and taken care of. And, you're just obliterated with time. Um, so, I completely understand and will try to help and work towards what's necessary to go. So it's really, really, really good to see that other people are out there that are doing it and that are making sure that it's not a boutique type of experience. And I think that's the nicest way I can say it.
Yeah, yeah, I understand
Thank
that.
you.
Um, right. And the thing is like we all just need to take a break and listen and learn from nature because in nature hierarchies don't exist.
Mhm.
Um, Traditional schools are like the picture perfect example of what a hierarchy is,
Mhm.
right? Like the child goes, listens to the teacher. If they don't listen to the teacher, they go to the principal's office. If they don't listen to the principal, the superintendent gets involved, they get expelled. Like that's not actually how we need to live, right? And that also doesn't teach our children anything about accountability for their
Sure.
behavior. If they did, do something that called for accountability. Giving children the opportunity to learn conflict transformation and restorative justice skills is what they need in order to be able to navigate life, not just feel like they're being punished for doing something wrong, not being able to account for their own behavior and face their choices, and have an opportunity to check in with a friend, or be shamed for being of a different income bracket, where the reality is like nature, like we all are playing our own unique parts. There's no income brackets in nature. Like there's no plant or animal or species of tree which is less important than another because of where it was raised, where it grew up. Like everything in nature is doing its own unique job and they're doing it in harmony and relationship to one another. And I think that that's kind of the society that folks like you and I, like, that we believe in for our future. Um, so yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more on WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Kimberly Gill is with us on Preston and Easy Blues with my partner in crime, Long Island raised, Elm City made. Like I said before, man, his name's Easy Blues. He's cool. He's my best friend. He's the man. He's my brother. Kim, um, thank you for breaking down the enrollment and everything. We'd like to give this last couple minutes to you. Please plug anything you got coming up. Also, please, I just want you just to give anybody some aspiring entrepreneurship advice who wants to go into a similar path as yours. And thank you for your story. It's been really meaningful. It really has.
Yeah. Well, like I said, we have the play-in on the National Economic Shutdown, which is January 28th. It's this coming Friday from 2 to 8. We'll be in Edgewood Park at the playground. Feel free to come join us. Bring some kids' books or toys if you have them. We are also hiring play workers.
Nice.
So those are our teachers. We call them play workers again because we are here to support the play for the children. We set examples, we model the types of behaviors that we want to be living with our children. We are looking for folks who have experience with early childhood, but not necessarily. Perhaps they have experience using decolonizing or anti-racist or consent-based frameworks in education. Perhaps they have experience with outdoor education or working in multicultural or intergenerational community spaces. They have to have a strong relationship to nature. That's super important. But aside from that, we have both part-time and full-time offerings right now that we're hiring for. We're also enrolling for our NEST program, which is our Caregiver and Me program, ages 0 to 4, and a caregiver. And that runs for the 8 weeks of spring, beginning the first week of April. We're enrolling for our Gardens pre-K program for the first time ever. It's our very first cohort, and we're so excited to see it fill up. We do have spaces available in that for all income brackets. So if folks are looking for an alternative to conventional schooling, but still need that full-time care for their child, I think that this is such a beautiful opportunity. Yeah, I'm really excited to be in conversation with you all. And I think this has been a lot of fun. So thank you so much for having me.
Of course. I got a little bit of time left. I got one final question.
I didn't get to the last point.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
sorry. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I don't want to be disrespectful. Go right ahead.
No.
I'm so sorry.
You asked for entrepreneurial
Yes, I
guidance.
did. Yes, I did.
Might not be the best person for that because, like I said, my career pathway has been like all over the place. Nevertheless, I think folks who want to do something like this, if you're not just, first of all, get involved with what we're already doing because we're trying to expand here. But if you have a different vision in mind, then I absolutely think you just need to like do a little bit of research into what different cultures, and in particular indigenous cultures around the world, have been doing for generations, for thousands of years. Like people of the global majority have been doing this, it's like it's a part of the way that we exist as humans. So don't, like, my biggest thing is just don't ever doubt yourself as an entrepreneur. Like, we have these like inclinations for a reason. We're put on earth in this lifetime at this time for a reason. And so I think like some of the best and most appropriate for like future forward thinkers are happening. They're right here with us. And so I'm happy to support them if they want to get involved with what we're doing, but otherwise just follow your heart. It's cheesy, but it's true.
Sometimes the most cheesy advice is the best advice. You know, it always happens. But I think that since we got like that little bit of time left, I just want to know, what are some of your favorite books to read to these kids? I see a whole bunch of great material behind you.
Oh yeah, we have a lot of books here. I mean, basically everything. These kids love to learn about everything. They ask questions. They want to learn about migration. We've been making the connection between like how butterflies migrate, but also people migrate, right?
Nice.
We've been making a lot of connections between like birthing and blooming. Like a lot of our families have new babies right now, and it's also like spring is just around the corner. So we're gonna be taking care of some babies, baby dolls, and real babies, and some baby blooms in the garden soon. So we'll be like also talking about the different parts of the flower and how the flower needs the nutrients from the soil. We also like to do a lot of like myths and different stories from different cultures that have just been passed down. Because I think that little bit of magic is really, really important. And it's also important for the kids to see that the stories that their grandparents have been telling them are very relevant and very real part of community as well.
Kim, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate this. We really do. It's been awesome learning about your institution, learn more about you. And that's it for me. Ease, you got any closing words?
No, I think this has been great, and again, thank you so much for providing this service for the community itself. It really does serve the community on so many different levels, and I like to see where you continue to grow. Love to have you back on.
Absolutely.
See where this vision takes you. So much good vibes on your journey.
Thank you both.
Absolutely. WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Preston, and my partner in crime, Long Island Raised, Mr. Elm City Made, Mr. EZ BlueZ. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate y'all.
Wondering what to write about, trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist, am I worth anything or just this